What would happen if the moon got a moon? Sounds silly. Right. Like something straight out of a cartoon, a moon. It even sounds like a joke. But believe it or not, some scientists think it's at least theoretically possible. Under the right cosmic conditions, the moon could just maybe catch a tiny object and keep it as its own little satellite. Imagine this one night. You step outside, coffee in hand, glance up and, wait, what's that? The moon looks normal until you notice a faint little dot moving around it. Not across the sky. Not like a plane or satellite around the moon. You check your phone, scroll through Twitter, and suddenly the entire internet is losing its mind. NASA's official account tweets something vague like, "We're monitoring an unusual object near the moon." Meanwhile, YouTube conspiracy channels go wild. Some claim it's aliens. Others say it's a lost Apollo module. But then astronomers confirm the moon might have captured a mini-rock, maybe a kilometer wide, and it's orbiting the moon itself. It wouldn't last forever. But for now, Earth's only satellite suddenly has one of its own, like a sidekick, a pet, or maybe a weird little cosmic baby. So let's imagine, for a moment, what could happen if that were true? What if our moon really did get a moon of its own? What would change for the moon, for Earth, and for us? Imagine this: a small asteroid, maybe a kilometer across, drifts too close to the moon. Instead of passing by, it slows down just enough to get caught. Boom! The moon just captured its own moon. This little stowaway starts orbiting the moon every 30 hours or so, forming the weirdest family in the solar system, Earth. The moon and the moon's moon. Astronomers call it a submoon. But let's be honest, everyone's calling it moon. It's not huge, maybe the size of a city, but it's big enough to make scientists lose sleep. You see, this isn't supposed to happen. The moon's gravity isn't strong enough to hold onto a satellite for long. It sits inside Earth's much bigger gravitational bubble, meaning the moon has to find a sweet spot not too close to crash, not too far to get stolen by Earth. And somehow, it does. Against all odds. This little rock locks into a perfect orbit, circling the moon while both of them orbit Earth. It's a delicate three-body dance, the kind of cosmic choreography that makes physicists grin like kids with new toys. Within hours, every telescope on Earth is aimed at it. NASA runs simulations, memes explode online, news headlines scream, "The moon has a moon." Kids start naming it Luna Jr., while scientists, being scientists, call it Object 2025 LM1. But here's where things get interesting. This tiny satellite smaller than New York is already changing how the moon behaves. Its gravity is pulling just enough to cause micro-wobbles in the moon's orbit around Earth. Tiny ripples in lunar motion that only precise instruments can detect, but they're real. And because everything in the Earth-Moon system is connected, those wobbles travel downward. Tides on Earth shift just a few centimeters at first, but measurable. The ocean doesn't care that it's a moon, it feels the pull. Over the next few weeks, satellites recording lunar motion send back something extraordinary. The moon's orbit has gained a heartbeat. Every time the moon swings around, it tugs, then releases like a tiny cosmic metronome ticking across the solar system. To us on Earth, it's almost poetic, the moon's first companion in billions of years. A small reminder that even something ancient and predictable can still surprise us. But to astronomers, it's terrifyingly fragile. One small nudge from Earth's gravity, one shift in the moon's tides, and the entire system collapses. The moon could spiral inward and crash, or slingshot away into the void. Right now, though, it's stable, barely, balanced in a gravitational knife edge, circling the moon while billions of eyes on Earth watch in fascination. For the first time ever, our moon isn't just a witness to the universe, it's part of a system of its own. At first, everything seems calm. The moon has its tiny new companion, a rock barely a kilometer wide, quietly looping around it like a pet tethered to a leash. Humanity gets used to the idea shockingly fast. Telescopes track its every move. YouTubers upload hour-long theories. And one startup even sells moon NFTs. For a while, it's the most peaceful story in the sky. But space doesn't do peaceful for long. You see, this three-body system, Earth, the moon, and moon, is unbelievably unstable. Gravity doesn't care about names or popularity. It cares about balance. And the moon's new partner just threw the entire rhythm slightly off. Let's start with the tides. Earth's oceans respond to the moon's pull like liquid clocks. But now there's a second, smaller gravitational tug entering the mix. When moon swings between the Earth and the moon, it adds an extra push. When it moves behind the moon, it pulls in the opposite direction. It's tiny. But over thousands of kilometers of ocean, tiny becomes enormous. Tidal charts start acting weird. In some places, the ocean rises a few extra inches higher than predicted. In others, it falls lower. It's not enough to flood cities, but it's enough to mess with shipping routes, fishing schedules, and coastal erosion. Meteorologists have to rewrite models. Supercomputers begin screaming for updates. And it's not just the water that reacts. The moon's own orbit wobbles not by much, but enough that lunar mapping satellites start showing tiny deviations. Each orbit of moon nudges the moon slightly forward or backward, changing how it faces Earth. Astronomers call this libration drift. Everyone else calls it the moon twitch. The funny part, you can actually see it if you look closely. Over a few weeks, the familiar patterns of the lunar surface seem to shift just a little more than usual. The moon's face doesn't quite stay still. It's subtle, but unsettling, like watching someone blink when they shouldn't be able to. Animals notice too. Many sea creatures, turtles, crabs, fish, time their migration or spawning cycles to the phases of the moon. Now, with an extra gravitational influence, those rhythms fall out of sync. Coral reefs spawn too early. Baby turtles hatch on the wrong tides. Even birds that use the moon for navigation start migrating off course. On Earth, the chaos becomes cultural. Astrology loses its mind. Horoscopes suddenly have to include a whole new celestial object, Mercury's in retrograde. But moons in orbit stay hydrated. TikTok fills with night sky videos and cosmic theories. People claim the new moonlight makes them sleep worse. Meanwhile, scientists try to keep things serious. They calculate how long this tiny rock can survive in orbit. The verdict: not long. The moon's tidal forces, the same ones that slowly pull Earth's oceans, are stretching. Moon's orbit bit by bit. Every lap, it loses a fraction of stability. Every swing, it's either being pulled closer or pushed farther out. And there's another problem. The moon itself is covered in gravitational bumps, areas where mass is uneven beneath its crust. These irregularities, called mascons, can tug on a small satellite unpredictably. So as moon orbits, these tiny distortions act like invisible potholes, kicking it off balance each time it passes overhead. The result is a slow-motion disaster waiting to happen. NASA's tracking data starts showing slight orbital decay. In simpler terms, moon's dance is starting to wobble. It's no longer following a neat circle, but an increasingly stretched oval. At its farthest point, Earth's gravity tugs harder. At its closest, the moon's tides yank back. Each pass gets more violent. It's like watching a yo-yo losing control of its string. Still, Earth's night skies are gorgeous. The moon and its mini companion glimmer together, two pearls glowing in the dark. Some nights, they even line up perfectly, forming a double moonrise over the horizon. For photographers, it's heaven. For physicists, it's pure stress. As months go by, the system enters what scientists call resonance instability. The orbits of the moon and moon start syncing up in destructive patterns, like two singers hitting the wrong notes at the same time. When that happens in space, something eventually breaks. Some predict moon will crash into the moon, carving out a new crater the size of a city. Others think it'll get yanked away by Earth, turning into another temporary mini-moon orbiting our planet before vanishing into space. A few optimists say it might stabilize again, but that's about as likely as balancing a marble on top of another marble, while spinning them both in a hurricane. For now, it's still there, tiny, distant, graceful. But the data doesn't lie. Its orbit is shrinking, slowly, silently. The moon's little companion is falling out of sync, and if you look up tonight, you might just be seeing it for the last time. Because when gravity plays favorites, the little guy never wins. A few months later, the headlines start to fade. moonmoon isn't new anymore. People have moved on to other cosmic dramas, another asteroid flyby, a weird radio signal from space, a celebrity announcing they're going to the moon. But scientists haven't stopped watching. They've noticed something. Moonmoon's orbit isn't what it used to be. At first, the changes are tiny, it's moving a little faster, its path looks slightly stretched, less circular, more oval. But when you're talking about gravity, slightly is another word for O. Every time moon swings closer to the moon, the gravitational pull between them grows stronger. It speeds up. Then, as it swings away, Earth's gravity yanks back, slowing it down again. That constant tug-of-war means its orbit is slowly twisting, spiraling into chaos. NASA's simulations confirm the worst, the system's going unstable. Moonmoon's days are numbered. The only question is how it ends. Let's break down the options. Option 1, the crash. If Moonmoon drifts too close, the moon's tidal forces will rip it apart. Bits of rock and dust would rain down, creating a glittering ring around the moon, a temporary halo glowing in sunlight. It would look breathtaking from Earth, like the moon just got a Saturn-style upgrade, but the beauty wouldn't last. Within months, gravity would pull that debris down, peppering the lunar surface with new craters, the biggest meteor storm in human history. Just 400,000 kilometers away. Option 2, the escape. If Moonmoon moves too far outward before crashing, Earth could steal it. In that case, our moon's moon becomes our moon temporarily. Anyway, it would orbit Earth in a weird, looping path, like a confused satellite that doesn't know who it belongs to. We've seen this happen before with mini-moons, small asteroids that get trapped for a few months before drifting off. But this time, everyone would watch in real time as the moon loses its child. And then there's the worst-case scenario, the fall. If the timing is wrong, Moon could get pulled straight toward Earth. It's small, but it's moving at terrifying speed around 70,000 kilometers per hour. If it enters our atmosphere, friction would ignite it into a fireball brighter than the sun. Most of it would burn up. But if even a fragment survived the descent, it could hit with the force of thousands of nuclear bombs. That's enough to flatten a city or trigger a tsunami if it hits the ocean. News networks would lose their minds. Social media would split into two camps, Team Impact and Team Escape. Conspiracy theories explode. Someone starts selling moon survival kits. Elon Musk probably tweets something like, "Don't worry, we'll catch it." But in reality, no one can do anything. Gravity doesn't negotiate. As the orbits tighten, the moon itself begins to feel the strain. Instruments detect minor vibrations on its surface, moonquakes triggered by tidal stress. The moon is literally flexing under the tension. On Earth, ocean tides become erratic. Nights grow slightly brighter as fragments of dust scatter sunlight in strange directions. Then, one night, it happens. The sky lights up with a flash brighter than anything since the dinosaurs saw their last sunrise. For a few seconds, the moon shines like a small sun, then fades behind a plume of debris. The impact sends shockwaves through the lunar crust, shaking dust loose across the entire surface. Telescopes around the world capture the moment. Scientists cry, not because of loss, but because they just witnessed something that's never happened in recorded history. The moon just ate its own moon. Over the following weeks, the dust cloud spreads out, forming a faint shimmering ring visible even to the naked eye. It doesn't last long, maybe a few months before the pieces rain down as meteors on the lunar surface. When it clears, the moon bears a new scar, a glowing crater the size of a country, visible from Earth. People name it the child's mark. From that night on, the moon looks slightly different. Not enough for someone centuries from now to know what happened, but just enough for us, the generation who saw it, to remember. Because in the end, gravity always wins. And sometimes, when worlds dance too close, the finale is beautiful and brutal all at once. When the dust settles, the sky feels strangely empty again. The little spark that once danced around the moon is gone. No more double moon rises, no more live streams, no more jokes about moon merch. Just silence and a slightly different moon staring back at us. The impact left its mark. A fresh crater, brighter than the rest, now catches sunlight in a way no telescope had seen before. It becomes a new landmark in the night sky, the scar of moon. Poets call it the child's mark. Scientists, more practical, name it Lunar Impact Site 1. Either way, it's proof that for a brief moment in cosmic time, our moon wasn't alone. The collision didn't destroy the moon, but it changed it. Some of the debris from the explosion settles into a faint, glowing halo that orbits for months, a ghostly ring visible at sunset, before eventually falling back to the surface. It's like the moon is wearing a memory of what it lost. On Earth, people can't stop looking up. Artists paint it, musicians write about it, and kids ask questions their parents can't answer. Can moons fall in love? Do they miss each other when they're gone? And for once, the adults don't laugh. Scientists, meanwhile, get busy. The event reshapes how we understand orbital mechanics, tidal systems, and the delicate limits of gravity. What was once just a fun theory now has real data. We finally understand what happens when a moon gets too ambitious. And yet, there's something bittersweet about it. The moon feels lonelier now, as if it briefly remembered what it was like to have company, only to lose it again. But maybe that's the beauty of it. Everything in the universe is temporary: planets, stars, moons, even us. What matters is that, for a short while, two worlds found each other and shared a dance. So next time you look up and see that faint new crater glimmering on the moon's surface, remember it's not just a scar. It's a love story written in dust and gravity, a reminder that even in space, nothing lasts forever, and that's what makes it beautiful. So what have we learned? Giving the moon its own moon sounds adorable until gravity gets involved. Our moon could capture one. Sure, it could even hold it for a little while. But in the long run, the universe doesn't have stable relationships. Everything falls apart, literally. Still, for those brief years, the sky would have been spectacular. Two moons dancing in the night, one massive, one tiny, locked in a fragile, impossible orbit. It would have reminded us that even the calmest corners of space can surprise us. That beauty and chaos often share the same orbit. In the end, Moon's story isn't a tragedy, it's a reminder. The cosmos is full of temporary wonders. They flare, they fade, and they leave behind stories written in light. So next time you look up at the moon, imagine that tiny companion still circling somewhere out there, waiting for another chance. Because if the moon can find a moon of its own, who knows what else might be waiting to happen? And speaking of that what if, one day we lost the moon entirely. What if it just drifted away? Stay tuned. That's another story for another night.